I once ordered a BPC-157 peptide off a website that also sold koi pond filters, which in hindsight should have been my first warning sign. It showed up 2 days later in a styrofoam cooler with an ice pack that had already gone soft and a vial labeled BPC in handwriting that looked like it was done in the dark. No dosage, no batch number, no expiration date, just 3 letters and a rubber stopper. I put it in my fridge next to a container of leftover pad thai and stared at it for a solid 10 minutes before I did anything else. That vial sat there for weeks because I had no idea what I was actually looking at. And it turns out, a lot of people are in that exact position right now. Peptides went from a niche biohacker topic to something your uncle brings up at Thanksgiving. And most of that conversation is happening without anyone explaining what these things even are. A peptide is just a short chain of amino acids, smaller than a full protein, which is the whole reason it can do so much. Your body already makes thousands of them to send signals between cells, tell your immune system what to attack, and tell your muscles when to repair. BPC-157 is the one most people have heard of, and it's a synthetic version of a peptide sequence originally found in human gastric juice. It was first isolated and studied by Dr. Predrag Sikirić back 1993. Dr. Jeffrey Peng has walked through the tissue regeneration research on it, and Rogan's podcast turned it into a household name among anyone who's ever torn a hamstring. The appeal is obvious. Tendons and ligaments have terrible blood supply, which is why they heal slowly, and BPC-157 is being studied for its ability to speed that process up. It's also worth knowing that BPC-157 was temporarily placed on WADA's prohibited list, which tells you something about how seriously the athletic world was taking it before the research caught up. People often stack it with TB500, Thymosin Beta-four, which works on a related tissue repair pathway and has become BPC-157's most common companion in recovery protocols. Muscle growth peptides work through a completely different pathway. Dr. Ashley Froese has broken down how peptide stacks interact with growth hormone and IGF-1, the same signaling molecules your body already releases during deep sleep and after heavy lifting. When people get specific in this category, you'll hear names like CJC-1295 and ipamorelin, growth hormone secretagogues that prompt your pituitary to release more of what it's already producing. The idea isn't to introduce something foreign, it's to nudge a system that's already running. Then there's semaglutide, sold under the brand names Ozempic and Wegovy, which didn't just enter the peptide conversation, it kicked the door down. It works on the GLP-1 receptor, slowing digestion and blunting appetite in a way that's driven one of the fastest cultural shifts in modern medicine. A newer entrant, tirzepatide, marketed as Mounjaro, targets both GLP-1 and a second receptor called GIP, and it's quickly become part of the same conversation. Wedding dress shops, airline seat design, and grocery store snack aisles have all had to respond to molecules most people couldn't have named 5 years ago. Here's the part I keep coming back to. That vial in my fridge wasn't from a pharmacy. It was from a research chemical supplier. And there's a real difference between something manufactured under pharmaceutical oversight and something that exists in what people in the space quietly call the gray market. Compounds produced for research purposes that never went through the kind of human safety trials that pharmaceutical approval requires. I didn't know that distinction when I ordered it. Most people don't, until they're standing in their kitchen, holding a vial with someone's Sharpie handwriting on it, which is a strange place to be making a health decision. That gap in oversight is exactly why the space has gotten messy. In 2023, compounding pharmacies that had been producing peptides like BPC-157 got hit with FDA warning letters after the agency moved 17 peptides to Category 2 status, meaning It didn't consider the safety and efficacy data sufficient for that kind of unsupervised compounding. Andrew Huberman devoted an entire episode to separating the peptides with real clinical backing from the ones riding on vibes and Reddit threads, and the gap between those two categories is bigger than most sellers want you to notice. The muscle growth peptides carry the same split. Some have real trial data behind them. Others exist mostly because a supplement company needed a new product for the shelf. The chain of amino acids doesn't care about your Instagram following, and neither does your liver. My vial of mystery BPC eventually got thrown out, still sealed, still unlabeled, sitting in a kitchen trash bag next to the pad thai container it had been keeping company with for a month. I never used it. Not because I'd made some noble decision about pharmaceutical ethics, but because I looked at that handwriting one more time and thought about how much trust I was being asked to put in a stranger with a Sharpie. That's still sitting in my fridge, metaphorically. A question mark in a cooler, waiting for someone to decide what to do with it.